station. Stanley, man the phones. Meredith, please, got a bottle of water. Aaron, call an ambulance, please.
No. Ambulances are emergencies only. You call the ambulance, I call the cops.
All right, we're driving ourselves.
No.
Actually.
You're all going to die.
Code 3 is a 2025 action comedy starring Rainn Wilson, Lil Rel Howery, and Amy Carrero. It seemingly didn't get a huge theatrical release, at least nowhere near me, and I haven't seen it pop too much in film discourse for the year. It won't be a top 10 type of movie for me by the end of the year, but I do think it has some qualities that are worth praising and drawing attention to. The main intriguing quality to me is the film's goal. It is essentially trying to educate the audience. This education is primarily about EMS work, but also extends to the broader medical field, touching on things like veteran care and hospitals broadly, as well as the main character, paramedics. This is certainly not a documentary, neither in style or kind of in substance, but to me it has a similar quality of depiction and education. And it feels rare to me to get like this specific combination, of education and entertainment in this kind of movie. The film's tone reflects the attitudes of the depicted workers. When Rainn is narrating and fourth wall breaking, it's with a tone of often callous indifference towards the human disasters around him. And from that, we get some pretty blunt discussion about the human condition, the inevitability of life ending in death, things along these lines. When Amy enters, she is kind of like an audience surrogate. She is learning the ropes and the hidden whys of the profession, why they are the way they are, as well as things they encounter, things that make them jaded, as we see in Rainn's character. They go through a lot, not just in the tragedies, but also in reputation and compensation. This is a film that wants you to understand what it means to be a paramedic. And much of that is about as sexy as the tragedies they have to clean up, which is not sexy at all, just so we're clear. The poster might give you the impression that this is a light, goofy comedy, but as you might have guessed from the previous brief description, it's certainly not light. It is still a comedy. The work and the ghoulish quality of the work, these are present throughout the film. Sometimes the comedy dominates, reflecting the mentality one needs to develop to protect yourself against that kind of work. Sometimes the true weight of the work dominates, and you kind of feel it draining your life force just as you're watching, not even having to do that. So despite the drastic tonal shifts, you can see the way the work connects everything, and you can see why it could be viewed through this gallows humor lens, and also through a weighty, inescapable one. Another surprising quality at times is the film's music choices. Some of that plays into the walls the paramedics have put up. The first piece of music, for example, or maybe it was the last one, but either way, different hip-hop tracks. The one I'm thinking of is called Joyride by Valid.
All right, it's Joyride, my part of town, all the way to your side, from the east to the west.
When I heard, the opening choice of a hip-hop song, that's kind of upbeat, energetic, as they're, on their shift, on their way to solve some human disasters. I had to put a bookmark in that mentally because that's quite the tone to set for your movie. But the lightheartedness is kind of the point, where it seems insensitive to be so uncaring about EMS emergencies. Then, of course, as the film goes on, you grow to understand this initially unfamiliar and almost distasteful quality of treating these things lightly. And the film certainly explains that mentality very well. There's a decent amount of other hip-hop music, which serves a similar purpose. The original score is not especially noteworthy by my reckoning, at least. It's mostly the licensed music that really interests me. Sometimes I feel like the mix of education styles, I'll call them, that the film employs can feel a little clunky. Sometimes information is delivered very transparently in character conversations, where the audience is like an invisible observer, but it still feels like you're being talked to very directly. It feels like exposition, but it's like, it's a weird feeling. I don't know. And sometimes it's very direct via fourth wall breaks. Sometimes it's invisible narration. Sometimes it's simple observation and inference. You can have, multiple education types. That's not a problem. It's just sometimes, to me, the delivery feels weird in conjunction with other things that are happening. Performances are all solid. I think Lil Rel Howery was my favorite, but no one feels out of place or out of their league or anything. So despite some scattered complaints, I do appreciate the uniqueness. I appreciate the message and delivery, and I think that this film deserves, a little more press.